In this video, if you hold XRP, I'm telling you guys right now, you are going to learn something that will probably open your eyes to just how big Ripple and XRP is already in the US. Because in this video, I'm going to be going over how Ripple and XRP are secretly being integrated within the US, and you probably don't even realize this. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So I understand that there is a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of, clickbait content as well that, says, hey, look at, XRP is going to do this, XRP is going to do that. In this video, I actually want to talk about, something very significant that a lot of people don't know. And it's the fact that Ripple is a part of a group that is actually in charge of innovating and making efficient the US financial system. And this goes back for, I want to say, a few years now. It might even be 4 or 5 since Ripple has been really kind of working on this and working with this group. But it's a group that you might not really know unless you're looking into the PDF documents, unless you're doing research, unless you're actually learning about, how well connected XRP and Ripple really are. But we're going to go over that. But let's first start off with a few things. Number one is Ripple says it's actively hunting for acquisitions as XRP price soars. Ripple is actively seeking companies to purchase. We have been active in the mergers and acquisition space and expect to be more active moving forward. Big shout out to Bank XRP for this. And yeah, listen, why wouldn't Ripple want to acquire a lot more companies? And these companies that they are going to look into, I'm pretty sure that they're going to have major licenses. All of the acquisitions that Ripple has acquired over the last couple years has been with a game plan behind it. Medico, for an example, one of their more recent acquisitions. Think about what Ripple gained from the acquisition. Massive banking player partnerships, an entire tech stack for institutional grade custody. I mean, Ripple wants to become that all-in-one umbrella package for the institutional side of things. So for them to acquire these companies, they have a game plan behind it. It's not just, hey, let's blow a whole bunch of money on acquiring these companies. No, they want to have, strategic acquisitions that put them ahead of the competition. I mean, they already are technically in terms of utilizing blockchain, but they're becoming an even larger giant. Now, on top of this, let's go over here. Because we have Asia is shaping the future of digital assets. Explore 3 trends in the region. Growing adoption, 9 countries in the top 24 global crypto use, forward-thinking regulations in Singapore, Hong Kong, and beyond, and major banks are stepping up with innovative custody solutions. Now, there is a lot of information within this, right? I can go over this for probably the next 10 minutes if I wanted to. But I went ahead and I actually summarized this with ChatGPT just to kind of save your guys' time, my time as well. And like I said, I really want to get into that organization that Ripple is a part of that is basically them secretly being integrated within the US. Summary. Digital asset trading is growing in popularity across Asia due to global market challenges, with significant trends shaping the region's future in the sector. Number one is increased adoption of digital assets in APAC. Asia is a leading region for cryptocurrency adoption driven by volatility in traditional markets and geopolitical tensions. Central and Southern Asia and Oceania rank as the 3rd largest crypto market globally with 750 billion in inflows, while Eastern Asia contributes about roughly 400 billion. 9 Asian countries feature in the top 20 of Chainalysis's Global Adoption Index, with India ranked first. Adoption is expected to grow through 2025 and beyond. And then we have progressive digital asset regulation in APAC. Many APAC regulators are embracing digital assets with progressive frameworks, especially in Singapore and Hong Kong, which lead in custody regulation. Examples include Singapore's updated Payment Services Act and MAS, Monetary Authority of Singapore, guidelines, and Hong Kong's guidance on custody and approval of Ether and Bitcoin spot ETFs. South Korea, Australia, and others are advancing regulations, while India is taking a stricter approach by clamping down on exchanges. Advancements in digital asset custody is moving forward or beyond, the proof of concept stage, with banks like DBS, Societe Generale, and Standard Chartered launching solutions. By the way, for those that actually don't know, Societe Generale just recently announced that they want to launch a stablecoin on the XRP ledger. These big banks are ready. The focus is shifting towards commercializing custody services requiring innovation in products that cater to both institutional and retail users. Challenges like legacy system integration are driving partnerships with infrastructure providers like Ripple Custody. The APAC region is set to further shape the global digital asset landscape with evolving adoption, regulation, and custody innovations through 2025 and beyond. And I want to bring this all up because at the end of the day, this is putting a lot of pressure on the US. This is putting a lot of pressure on the UK, on the UAE, you name it. Like everywhere around the world is now trying to move forward on crypto. We recently saw the president, launching meme coins and things like that. These things are just going to accelerate. Adoption, making the space bigger, the need for regulations, like things are going to move so fast this year. It's going to be unbelievable. But on top of this, right, we look at Ripple. We look at what is behind Ripple because it's not just, being compliant, regulated, things like that. If we go over here, there's a great post, and this is an individual from Axler, as you guys are all aware, right? I talked about him in my Axler video just recently, but we have XRP has the potential to become the most important asset in global finance. Below, I outline a path towards this future. XRP has quietly supported one of the largest cross-border payments networks in the world, RippleNet. But the fabric of finance is changing as financial institutions are launching their own blockchains, which will bring all financial infrastructure on-chain. The question now is, what is XRP's role as the traditional banking system, hundreds of trillions of dollars, moves on-chain? Let's unpack how XRP could become the global settlement layer for all of banking. Over 500 companies already use XRP for cross-border settlements through RippleNet, allowing users to remit over routes that traditional rails couldn't support. In other words, thanks to its deep liquidity on exchanges, XRP is making financial institutions more interoperable. RippleNet's secret sauce is on-demand liquidity. Here's a simple example of what this looks like in real life. German bank customer sends euro to XRP, conversion instant. XRP moves cross-border, XRP INR, conversion instant. Indian recipient gets INR in their local bank. Total time, seconds, cost almost free, reach global. Compare that to traditional finance where the same transaction would see funds bounce through multiple banks over 1 to 3 business days, costing up to $50 per transfer and only working where banks have pre-existing relationships. Here's where things get really interesting. Last month, Deutsche Bank announced that they're launching on layer 2 via ZK Sync. This is just the start. Major banks are exploring blockchain technology. If you thought the rate of layer 2 launches in 2024 was wild, think again. Further to the continued layer 2 frenzy, this shift creates an unprecedented opportunity. In this new multi-chain banking world, XRP can bring its proven liquidity model on-chain. Bank A or Bank Chain A on-chain swap euro to XRP. XRP cross-chain transfer from Bank Chain A to Bank Chain B. Bank Chain B on-chain swap XRP to local currency on-chain. The same efficient model, but now connecting every banking chain. Here's why this matters. And by the way, here you have that image. The future of banking is multi-chain today and tomorrow. This is very interesting. Here's why this matters. After banks move their infrastructure on-chain, all financial transactions will happen on-chain, not just cross-border transactions. The scale of the opportunity is massive, and on-chain traditional messages networks like SWIFT won't work. Communication between bank chains will instead happen through blockchain interoperability protocols. Interoperability protocols need a liquidity layer in order to facilitate cross-chain swaps across banking chains. This can be XRP. XRP makes a lot of sense as the global liquidity layer. Why? Because it provides, number 1, a neutral asset, number 2, deep liquidity, and number 3, regulatory clarity. For number 1, stablecoins won't cut it because no single national currency will be adopted across all nations. For example, Chinese banks won't adopt foreign currencies for cross-bank transfers. For number 2, there are only a few candidate assets that have deep enough liquidity, Bitcoin, ETH, XRP, and you need a team that actively works with institutions to build out liquidity for the asset on the bank chains. Out of those assets, XRP is the only one supported by Ripple, a formidable organization with deep relationships in traditional finance. There's no analogous entity in the Bitcoin and ETH ecosystems. For number 3, after defending against the SEC for multiple years, the XRP community is well positioned. Let's put what we've discussed so far in context so we can get a sense of the scale of what's happening. We are looking at the following markets: remittances markets, traditional banking settlements, DeFi. XRP is positioned to play a substantial role across all 3 markets. XRP built the liquidity. Banks are moving on chain. Here we have, for the final piece, we need blockchain interoperability, and this is where Axelar comes in. This vision isn't just theory. The future of global settlement is multi-chain, and Axelar is making this future possible by enabling XRP to seamlessly bridge between any blockchain, public or private. Axelar has been live on mainnet for 3 years with 70 chains connected, and after a year of development on the XRP ledger, the Axelar XRP ledger connection is approaching mainnet launch. This is going to be big. Axelar is the internet of blockchains. Axelar provides the interoperability layer that connects blockchains just like the internet connects personal computers, as the new internet needs a liquidity layer. XRP is perfectly positioned to become the liquidity layer for the global world of finance. The XRP Ledger Axelar integration has been in the works for more than a year and very close to going live on mainnet. As launch is approaching, I am thrilled to be a part of the XRP community. And listen, when we think about this, why is this very important to go over? Well, we have from Axelar Network, the fabric of finance is changing. XRP is set to lead the charge, paving the way for banks and institutions to adopt the new financial system. Axelar is integral to this. With the upcoming XRP Ledger integration, Axelar becomes the global connectivity layer. And this is all happening in real time while we focus on how RLUSD and even XRP can help the Federal Reserve with issuing the digital dollar. Mind you, remember that Ripple is also a part of the US Faster Payments Council, the same Faster Payments Council that when you look at their overview, it is an industry-led membership organization where vision is a world-class payment system where Americans can safely and securely pay anyone, anywhere, at any time, and with near immediate funds availability. By design, the Faster Payments Council encourages a diverse range of perspectives and is open to all stakeholders in the US payment system. This is that organization that is pushing the faster payment system in the US forward, utilizing blockchain. By the way, blockchain and crypto in payments, transforming the way money moves. This is with Ripple's latest white paper in collaboration with the Faster Payments Council. And you know what's crazy about this? If we look at the working groups, look at the working groups behind this. You have players like BNY Mellon, the Clearinghouse, NASDAQ, MasterCard, major players all around the world that are tied back to this. By the way, we have digital assets in the financial industry, being tied into this, QR code interfaces, directory models, instant payments, data optimization, like all these big players are working together. And we know that Ripple is also tied back to this. And if we look at the actual staff, the leadership staff, right, we have US Faster Payments Council, right, all of these players. Then we have down here, right, you have some of the chairmen, things like that from BNY Mellon, for an example, Walmart, Netflix. Then, as we scroll down, you have some bankers players, like big bank players. And we also have a few other players on here as well. Then the advisory group as well. NASDAQ, First Bank, JP Morgan is on here. I mean, these are like very substantial names. Volante is on here, which Ripple is connected into. ACI, also Ripple connected. You have American Express on here. Wells Fargo, major banks, Federal Reserve, financial services. And you also have Ripple. Interesting. Ripple's the only big player on here really tied back to DLT and blockchain. Very, very interesting. And also don't forget that Ripple put out a full breakdown with the US Faster Payments Council. This goes all the way back to like 2024. They teamed up with them for a global survey. This is that survey, Blockchain and Global Payments, where they broke down the 4 key insights on just how significant blockchain is in payments. And again, it all comes back to XRP. But even over here, we have how RLUSD and XRP can help the Federal Reserve with issuing the digital dollar. And we go back to the Faster Payments Council because they are working with the Federal Reserve. But here we have from Smoke Dog, pay attention in the documentation below. You can see that it is possible for the United States CBDC to be issued with stablecoins. Though this idea has been speculated plenty on the exact arrangement or plans to launch a CBDC, this is the first clear documentation that has confirmed that private sector stablecoins can assist or possibly take the place of a digital currency overseen by the Federal Reserve. Why would this arrangement make sense for the federal government? In the same document, it explained further how the US dollar currently has dominance in the digital financial world, as 85% of the US-based stablecoins in circulation are concentrated in a handful of companies. Therefore, instead of creating an entirely new digital dollar system to monitor with an official privately issued US stablecoin, the federal government could only have to supervise the activities of a handful of regulated companies. To further illustrate that role that the RLUSD and XRP could essentially have, with issuing the US digital dollar. Here are 2 videos from the Federal Reserve's own David Andolfado. I hope that I'm saying that name correctly. In those 2 videos, David confirms that the settlement of a digital dollar would be outsourced to a company like Ripple, which would use the XRP ledger for settlement. He also explains how Ripple can complement the US payments system with its own stablecoin RLUSD, a scalable public blockchain XRP ledger, relationships with the federal government, and access to global liquidity. Ripple is positioned for a major role in the development of the digital dollar for the US. See for yourself. And here we actually have current and future central bank digital currency projects. In any case, the decision to launch a digital dollar will require a thorough prior analysis that will take at least another 2 or 3 years in an environment that seems to lead to the coexistence of the CBDC if it is finally issued with stablecoins. Then also over here, we have the so-called digital dollar. Second, the role of the private sector is in issuing stablecoins denominated in the US currency also appears interest in accelerating the process towards the creation of the digital dollar. In this way, the institutions of the United States maintain the competence and jurisdiction to supervise the aforementioned actors. In sum, the main players in the digital financial ecosystem, and specifically stablecoin issuers, are closely linked to the U.S. administration, either voluntarily or coercively, thus participating in positioning the dollar as the main currency used in transactions in the digital economy.
That is.
Now, here we have David. Check this out real quick.
That is, people say, how can you trust, the Fed to do the bookkeeping? I mean, like I said, my response is, well, you don't expect the Fed to kind of steal your money. I mean, if the Fed can print all the money at once, it's not going to mess around with your bookkeeping. So, we have this big spreadsheet, the blockchain, if you want, but it's just managed by the Fed, and it's very cheap, much cheaper than Bitcoin, if you're willing to delegate the responsibility to a third party. But then the downsides to all of that, of course, is you'd actually suppose you didn't want the Fed to be responsible for processing the payments. I mean, suppose, the Fed will likely impose some KYC restrictions on some purchases. They might not process some purchases that you might want to undertake. And so it was at that point that I said, well, we could, if we wanted to, extend the concept one step further. I'm not saying that this is ever going to happen, but just conceptually, you could imagine not FedWire for all, but kind of like a Fedcoin, where what the Fed would do is actually just issue these, Bitcoin-like objects, but and they would enforce a par exchange rate with the U.S. dollar. That would eliminate the exchange rate volatility. But they could delegate the clearing of these payments to some third party, some sort of Ripple-like protocol, or possibly even Bitcoin. I mean, we could delegate the responsibility of processing these electronic, Fedcoin payments to the miners. And the idea there would be,
Now, of course, he does mention Bitcoin. He mentions, other cryptocurrencies. But at the end of the day, listen, we know what the most efficient, best-in-class technology for this would be. We already know that Ripple is well, integrated within a lot of the major banks out there already. So it just makes sense for Ripple to be the big player here with XRP. Of course, they're not going to come out and exactly tell you that. We also know that Ripple does have a lot of connections with Federal Reserve actors and players and even organizations tied back to the Fed. So again, it just makes sense. Now, also over here, we have another video clip of David. Check this out.
David, fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
I'm one of the fellows who raised his hand when you asked who uses Ripple, Joe and myself. And I just want to say, it's I'm very happy to see that someone at the St. Louis Fed respects it at the very least. And I'm sure that from all the good things you said about it, many people in this room would like to hear more. But you mentioned that you foresee peer-to-peer currency-agnostic payment clearance systems such as Ripple coexisting with institutions such as central banks in the United States. And my question is, how are we going to see that happen? What is it going to take?
So thank you very much. And, all the nice things I said about Ripple, everybody knows to short it. Well, how do I see it? I mean, like you said, Ripple is a currency agnostic platform. It really doesn't care too much about creating and managing its money supply, although it does have its native money supply. So, it's doing, the way I exposited the idea, Ripple is handling the processing of payments for many of the world's unbanked people. Okay, and that the Fed is one institution that's providing a type of currency that people could use as payment using the Ripple protocol. But there may be other currencies. There could be Bitcoin, there could be the yen. So, I mean, I see room for coexistence. I mean, I see it today. I don't see any reason to doubt why it might not continue in the future.
Now, see, the big thing here is that, yes, there will be coexistence. There 100% will. Even when Axler was talking about the multi-chain future, right? Like they're, addressing a multi-chain future. Yeah, there's going to be multiple chains out there. There's going to be multiple, DLTs being utilized. But you got to remember, there's an automated flow to utilize the most efficient ledger. When you are routing transactions, when you are trying to settle something, the technology is going to be automated to find the most efficient driver of those transactions, which I do think that in most cases, we could assume that to be the XRP ledger, especially when it comes to on-demand liquidity, deep liquidity pools, fast transactions, low-cost transaction, low-cost transactions. So when we think about this, it just makes sense to go through Ripple payments utilizing XRP and the XRPL. And when we think about already being integrated within the US financial system, we know that Ripple's in major discussions with the Trump administration. We know for years Ripple has been working with the US Faster Payments Council. We know for years that Ripple has been working with the IMF and even the BIS now with the CPMI group. It just makes sense for Ripple to be fully integrated. This is one organization though I think everyone should be paying attention to, because the Faster Payments Council is one that I have been studying for years. And it is a very significant player when it comes to, the US financial system changing to a much faster, much more efficient way of sending money in and out of the US. And I do think that this is a key organization that's driving that home, even with Ripple. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.